9:30 a.m. Central. We're tracking Luna Classic. Now this is the proper way to use your indicators here. And what we're really going to do here is basically track on the 1 hour. And this is where we want to make our trades. Now pretty much the most important one of your indicators is going to be your trend line, right? And that trend line right here is red. Last time it turned, we were green up here. Now we're in the sell. So now we are on a downslide, right? So what we're waiting for here is the 1 hour, and this is Luna Classic. So we're currently waiting for the 1 hour. Now what we're also doing is, you know, catching bottoms, and this can be pretty much off some basic supports that came up last time. As you can see here, every time Luna pretty much comes across, there's a consolidation area in this zone right here. So looking at that and seeing it playing against itself, we just go to the top of that zone across all these and say, okay, and this seems like a resistance line. And what happened here is we got it to come all the way down, and basically it did hit a resistance here and jump down a little bit. So this is just a zone that we just put there so we can see as it moves across. Now, since we are touching and spiking, this is your 200 moving average, as you already know with your indicators. We're hitting here off our support, spiking off our 200, coming back down to support. That's a retest. And normally, just like any type of move, you always want to have a retest before it you know, continues on. So what we're seeing here is we had our double retest. Now we're getting our triple, and we're consolidating now, right? Which normally for us is going to kind of let us know that we're looking for a upward push here, especially after such a nice little decline. And as we take a look here, we can see. So really what we're doing here is we're just waiting on this trend line to turn green so that we can get into a position for a long. And we also have some key markers here on the 1 hour. We have the 200 moving average. So we can get above, obviously the white line, you know, is our 10 moving average. We have our 20 moving average in blue. And as you can see here, we're starting to get where the 10 and the 20 are about to cross. And we know that that normally will give us some sort of a pump, at least an injection of an upward motion. Now, how much that is based really just comes down to volume. Now, the only resistance is going to be the 200 moving average. So, first thing we want to do here is kind of like take a look and see if that is a profitable zone. So let's say if it does bounce here and it goes to the 200 moving average. As you can see here, we have so if we enter here, let's say that we're playing the 1 hour and we see that our trend has flattened out. More importantly, this is kind of like, you know, what I like to play here is that anytime that you get a coin or the candles break through the 10 moving average, retraces, breaks through, you're looking for any type of bounce off the 10. So finally, after this movement, it comes back up, and now we have where it's supported on the 10, giving us a better confirmation. So now on this move here, we get a little bit of a buy signal here, and this is where we're getting an entry. So here, taking a look down here, we have the RSI coming down. It has gone flat and it started to move up. Plus we're going into we're on the top of the volume side. So that's 1, 2, 3 looks with the 10 moving average. So here we want to make, before we put in heavy money or our big trade, we definitely just want we just want the trend line to go green. Other than that, we are go 10 moving average go, and we're about to break the 20. That's another go. Now, because of the breaking the 20 moving average there, this is actually a trade that we can do like a 25 or even a 50% entry to get a pre-entry in, just in case that once the trend line turns green, it's not already up here. So I've already entered 50% of my position on this 20 moving average break, because we have broke the 10, we got a bounce off the 10, we came up, we resupported the 10. The 10 moving average is also heading upwards, meaning that we have a volume push, and the RSI on the 1 hour is showing us a nice little, it's only at the 80, it has a while to go. Plus, if it does break up and it rejects off the 200 moving average, which is the next resistance line, that is a 2.5% gain, meaning that even if I'm halfway in on my trade and I get there and I close out, fuck. Let's say I'm doing a 20x like I normally do. That's going to be a 12% gain per percent. So 12, 24, and 6. So we have 30%. So this little move here will be a 30% gain. So let's say we have $1,000. We put 500 in. This is going to be a $150 winner right here off one trade. And like we like to make some simple trades. We like to stay within one to two good trades a day. We just want to make $300 to $700 a day, and that's pretty much the goal. Now, if this starts to break up and then pulls back and this turns green, then I will put my other $500 in on my trade, and then I'll push that up there, which will get us our extra monies that we need. And this could even break the 200 with all this happening, just because a lot of times what we're looking for is when you do have that trend change, you will get that extra boost. So this trade here is what we're looking to actually see a nice little 10 to 19% gain. So kind of hitting these levels up here, and that's really where we'll make our money on this trade. But this is how you use your indicators. You run off the 1 hour, very important, stay on the 1 hour. You're just waiting for your trend to change above the 10 moving, and that's, and the RSI is in position. And how you test this to see what direction you're going is you go down to your 3 hour. And now that we're looking at our 3 hour, we can see that we have an RSI below the 80. Okay. And we have plenty of room to push here. Plus, we're starting to go positive down here on the volume on our other indicators, so that's really good. That's another good sign that we're going in the right direction. The RSI is pointing up, the volume's starting to turn, and more importantly, we go in here and take a look, and sure enough, we are getting ready to break the 10 moving average, and there's the 200 moving average, right? So once we get above this 200 moving average, which is sitting at 29071, so pretty much sitting on top of 291. So we can get to that level there. We're going to be really excited to feel very comfortable that this is a move up. So on this type of play, taking it safe, especially when you're dealing with large amounts of money, is the best thing to do. So just waiting for this to really stay above the 200 moving average. If it bounces off that's a really good entry point, and then that's pretty much a solid move, at least up to the 200 moving average right here, which once again, even if we get that move right there, that's a solid 5% move, and that's going to bring in a nice little you're getting 12 on that, so 60% gains right here. So that's a $600 trade on a $1,000 investment, and that is pretty much how to stay focused here. So I want you guys to just really focus on one thing. The indicators are very simple. The number one thing that's important to you is the trend, right? So we don't get into a trade on an upward movement until we have a trend on the upward movement, right? Here's your trend entry, which would have been right here. and it's been literally running the entire time. Took some profits right here, and that's really all it is once you get in on a trade and you have your big push as you continue to go, once you get to where, and these are some of the trades that, you know, the question is how long do I stay in, right? Now these moves right here are worth 60%. This move right here, if you would have got out. Now the reason why we don't get out of this trade in here is because our trend is still rolling, and it's the first big push. So a lot of times you want to go until, you know, your RSI flattens back out and comes back up and gets a higher push to the 100 side. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking these profits, selling out, letting it come back down, let the RSI bounce, and then on its way back up, re-enter above the 10 moving average, and then take advantage of this spike again. And the RSI hits the 100. You see the instant decline right here. You see your instant decline on your RSI, and that is where you would sell out again, and you would just take profits. And at that point, you would wait until your indicators showed green again, and they don't show green, they don't show green, they don't show green. You keep going, and then boom, your indicator trend changes to red. So you go into a short at this position here at 3266, and you'd be shorting ever since, and you would have made a beautiful short all the way down here. And right now you'd be stalling out flat, and you'd be thinking about literally, now that you're done with red, you're starting to see this upward motion here. As soon as this turns green, you would sell out and take profits. But honestly, when you have these big dips here and you start to see these green candles and it's that flat, might as well just go ahead and take profits there and call it a really good day. That is another 80% gain on your trend mark there. So let's recap that. The entry down here, we had a buy signal, okay? Now, we enter on the 1 hour. Bada boom, bada bing. Here's our 1 hour. Look at our trend change right here. See it go from red trend to green trend right here. We rotate in. Now that we have our trend change, we look down. We have the green volume. The RSI is moving. We also have a buy signal, and we're above the 10 moving average. This is an in, especially with the trend going green. We ride that up, and then basically as we come across, we would stay here and we would ride the trend all the way across until we see this volume come down, which is right in this zone here, which would allow us to basically sell out and take profits. And then we would come across, and at that point, until we see another green, we just stay out of it. And eventually we turn red, and right here we would have got into a short position and rode that short position all the way down until we got another reversal, which is trend wise, and we start to see here we go green. We do have a buy, but we don't have a trend change, right? Now when we do come down here, we do see a trend change that pops up in green. We got our trend change. Our RSI is low. It's not a bad entry right in this zone here, and we would ride that up, and basically here would be kind of like a wash, because right here you get your sell sign. So you would look at that with your declining volume and your RSI coming down, and you would get out of that trade. And that's one of those trades that, you know, 3 out of 10 trades you're going to have a flat trade like that. And now what you're going to do is just kind of like ride your trend out until you get green again. And here it's still green, which means we're moving up, but we're waiting for this to be green, and boom, we turn green. The RSI is ready to go. Boom, you're above the 10 moving average. You enter here on another play, and this play takes you all the way up. This is another huge gain here. This is another 30% gain. And then as you come across, you see your RSI coming down, your volume coming down, your red candle. You could take profits there once again, but you do have the green trend. So a lot of times guys, if they have a good take here, they will push it over and they will ride this trend out to see where it's headed. As long as everything is still in, you know, the trend is green and you're above the 10 moving average. you bounce, you're seeing green, you recover the 10 moving average, and you're back up. And now you're coming across, moving flat, and eventually right here, you see that you start to go negative, and your RSI is bottoming out. And this is where you would sell in this zone here, because you are starting to go yellow and red below. You're no longer on the top side, you're on the bottom side, and you would sell out in this zone in here. Take profit, call it a day, and then you just ride that out until you get green volume again, which you did. And you also got a buy signal above the 10 moving average. So boom, the trend is still green, your bottom is green, you got a buy signal, you're back in. Now you ride it all the way up, and as soon as you get to the top again, you come across, here's your red candle, you see your volume is dropping. Now at that point you could take profit, and what you're going to wait for is for the RSI to come all the way back down to see where the coin is. And this happened to be a very big dip, and it went red on you. So you would stay out of this trade. You would just rock this trade all the way back until you got another green and a new enter at a buy. That would take you up, and then you'd hit another RSI being rejected early, and you could see that right here getting rejected, and you would basically close out here. And then on this move you'd be out, and then you would see this trend change right here, and you're in red, and you would go into a short position on this move here. And you would take that short position until you've seen this green, the opposite of what you've been doing, and the RSI running up. So you would sell out here. You would let this go to the top, and then now that you know that your trend is in a downward trend, the moment this pushback, retest, or bounce, dead cat bounce, whatever you want to call it, happens, you then see your sell signal come in with the square, and you would see the RSI breaking down on the 1 hour, and you would be getting into a short here, somewhere in this position, and then you would be riding this short all the way down, now that you have red down here, and you would ride this all the way down until you get some type of upward movement here. You would close out again. Your trend is still red, so when it turns red here, you would be re-entering your downtrend. And you would ride that until you get this green in this zone here. And at this point, you're starting to see yourself, yellows popping up above. You would take out your low profits, or you could, on here, because I have a downward trend and my RSI is pretty much at the top here, it has to come down. I would stay in this trade here in the short, just because I expect it to bounce off the RSI and still go down, right? I want it to go all the way down. So because the RSI is already oversold, then the odds are that this is probably going to continue down with the downward trend, everything staying down. So I would hang out in this trade here, and I would just watch it really closely. It did get a little bit of a spike here to the 20 moving average, which you will always see happen, some type of retest. And then at that point, it gave up, and then I can see my RSI overbought, and then finally it breaks down, and I'm still in my short, comes all the way down. And now that I got a good short in here and it starts to reverse in here, this is where I would be looking to take my profits, because my RSI is already at the bottom. Unlike here, the RSI is at the top. Here it's at the bottom. So I would take profits here when the RSI starts to break up, and I would wait for the RSI to go all the way through its zone to finish here. And then if I'm still in a downward trend, then I would re-short off this RSI break right here. See how it's starting to come down? I would re-enter this short here because my trend is down, my volume is going down, and I would ride this down, and then it had a sell in there, which is nice. And I'm just holding this trend all the way through. And then all of a sudden, as soon as the RSI bounces here again, it starts to move up, and my volume shows me that it's going upwards, I would have sold right here out of my short. And at that point, I would have stayed out of my short this entire time until I got another opportunity in here. And at this point, you'd probably stay in this short as you're going back and forth, but you're really playing the RSI here. So short here, there's not too much of an RSI position to play. So when we're getting into the short zone here, as we start to come down, we already have the RSI pretty much bottomed out here. We would close our short here, and then I would just wait for this to run its course right at this point. Now that I realize this is starting to go flat, I'm starting to realize that this is probably the bottom of everything that's happening because I'm staying flatly green. So now this is where I would say, oh, it must be time to start thinking about going long. And then I would go to my 3 hour and I would see where my 3 hour is, and it looks like the 3 hour is starting to also set up nicely. My 4 hour is starting to go flat as well. So now I start working backwards. I go to my 30 minute, right? What does my 30 minute look like? My 30 minute looks green way back here. It's above the 10 moving average. That looks good. Now the 15, that's green. We're starting to look good. It has its little sell sign here now. So I'm looking to get into longs here. So I would be using the 15 minute to come down on its shorts, and I'd be looking to buy in anytime that it dipped down there. So right here I can see a simple channel off the 200 moving average and its bottom channel up here. So I would be basically in the middle of this. I would be trying to buy off this area here, which you guys can see we've already had set up right on that little zone, and we've been buying every time that it's dipped below the 2.9 level. So we've been buying these dips and just slowly building up to a long that looks like it's coming in the future, and you know, just preparing to get in at this level. So basically now we're out of the short, and what we're waiting for is the trend. So the most important thing for you guys to do is watch your 1 hour trend, and as soon as that goes green, then you're into the trade, and then you just hope off the 200, you know, you can take some profit there, but you want to break through that and go for the run. But that is how to use your trend lines. Re-watch this video over and over so that you can understand what's going on out there, guys. Other than that, good luck, God bless, and watch Luna Classic.